Okay, so today's video is a little different. I've already made a track using Vocaloid Po-Uta. I'm going to break it down and show you why you should be using it too. You'll want to watch the whole thing through because I have a few really cool tips that I think will help speed up your workflow, but also just help you. Please watch, like, and subscribe if you haven't. I think only 93% of my viewers are subscribers. It's a little thing that'll help me a lot. All right, let's get into it. So we got the song here, and we're just going to listen to the first verse and drop. It's kind of a really interesting song, and I'm going to talk about some of the decisions I made in making this. But first, let's talk about Po-Uta, because that's the content you guys clearly seem to like. That is all you like. So let's talk about that. The first thing I did actually was I walked around this room for 40 minutes trying to sing lyrics and vocals in my head so I could have a reference track. So let's listen to that reference track. The breeze in the air. Outside, I felt the summer in the sky. Not sure why I was glitchy, but you'll notice one thing. Those aren't the same lyrics. It just wasn't feeling right. And I thought, well, I'll just push forward. Let me write the chorus first. And I wrote this chorus, and me being big brain dum-dum, I thought that if it starts on C, it's going to be in the same key. Well, I wrote the chorus and ended up being an F major. But I wrote the chorus, which is now this. 'Cause then you see when I hold you just the same. You might have noticed I bounced out the acapellas from Po-Uta just so it was easier to work with, easier to see, since the MIDI you have to do in the Vocaloid editor. And for me, that's kind of a downfall. I wish I could just see it in Logic with everything else. So I just bounced them out, brought them back in. It helped to kind of have a theme, which was because of you, life is better, which is a little vague, but with that in my head, I was able to kind of make sure, does this next line lead back to what my overall goal is, my overall message? So then once I had that in place, I started trying to write chords around it. So I'm not great with chords. So what I did was I did one layer at a time. So I started, I think, with the bass. And then I try to add another layer. And then I added another layer. And then I added another layer. And then I went in and added this counter. And I'm pretty happy with that chord progression. It's full of emotion. It's kind of exactly what I was hoping for, honestly. And I'm not great at chords. I can't tell you, oh yeah, this 7-5-3 progression will be amazing. So for me, this was the way to do it. One line at a time, and I can focus on just taking one note and moving it up or down to line up with the previous layers, rather than taking the whole chord and figuring out which note in the chord is wrong. So for me, it's a quicker workflow. What I wanted to do too was add juxtaposition, meaning have contrast. And the way that I achieved this contrast for me was Po-Uta is a digital voice, text to speech, digital, whatever you want to call that. So I thought, how funny but cool would it be if I added real strings? So that's what I did. And I feel like they actually blend really well. By the way, if you're curious, I'm using Labs, which is free. This is free. Let me repeat that. Spitfire Audio Labs. Download it. There are free strings. And then I also added a layer of it's kind of like brass a little bit, but so it's like really atmospheric, really bold, I just orchestral. And then I added, for the background, I added the noise of cicadas. Since Vocaloid's kind of like a Japanese style of making music, I thought it would be cool to add cicadas, since in a lot of anime there's cicadas. But also, I'm from Maryland, and you can hear cicadas all summer. So I thought it was a cool touch. Going back to juxtaposition, how I wanted contrast. Again, this is kind of like this Japanese style Vocaloid, poppy. So then I decided, well, let me go with some UK garage drums, because that'd be great. And I'm at 130 BPM. So this is in the verse. Okay, so the drop. This is what it sounded like originally. The vibe was there, the energy was there, I loved it, but I really wanted to really use Po-Uta as the main feature, like a vocalist, like truly using Po-Uta as a vocalist rather than just an instrument on the side for texture. So I was trying to figure out, and it's kind of a lucky mistake. This is just the first thing I wrote in, and I wrote the notes without even listening, and I ended up with this. I just wanna be with. Which in context sounds like. For the bass, I'll just go over all the things I did here. So detuned saw wave, basically like a Reese, but high pitch. So actually, I tried to make a song like Virtual Self, the whole like. And instead of doing it quick here, I'm just holding it out, and that's what I'm using for the low chord. And then I have the bass. And this bass is just a Reese that I cut out the low end at 60 to make room for the sub. My bad habit is I always let the sub just go the whole way. There's never a break. And there's a time and a place for that. But in this instance, I thought it'd be more bumpy, energetic if I just had like short little stabs kind of with a kick. So the drums I'm using are actually a loop from Splice that I got, which the problem with that is it's baked in. So the way that I made it brighter so I could bring out some of the high end later was I actually duplicated the layer, and then I cut out all the low end up to like, 2700. I added isotope trash on there. Just for like some distortion and color, and then added another EQ to cut out the noise that the trash was bringing in, and then sidechain compression. So it brings out a lot more of the high end and kind of has this nice crunch to it. That was a really quick workaround. So if you're ever looking for something like that, it worked for me. It might not always work. Like that's what it sounds like now, and I was happy with that, but I felt like it needed more energy or movement or something. In order to give this melody here more life, I actually added a glide to it so that you can hear it switching notes. And I feel like that just brought enough energy to liven it up. So then I duplicated the chords, and I, a long time ago, bought a Porter Robinson World synth pack and just used this synth here. And then I'm adding that Valhalla frequency echo, which is free. I'm adding that on there, which for me, is just adding a little bit of chaos in my mind. I don't know if it's really doing anything, but sometimes when you think something's in there, you just let it be. And that actually, for me, brightened up the song enough. So that's the drop. Oh, and for for most of these synths, I'm taking that high note, the low, these things that I made earlier, and I'm reusing them. Nothing too complicated. I kind of wanted like a moment to reflect over what's been said in the song. I know this sounds silly, but I think it's appropriate to give time for someone to just think about what they've listened to or what they've been singing and just feel it. So that's what I did here, and I accidentally just moved the drums up, but I kind of like the way they come in. I think it helps bring it back in the beat. The problem is then for the second part, I wanted it to gain more energy in the drums. So I just added another top for the drums I found in Splice. That way you're getting that energy back. So a kind of small but cool note is, so for me, the strings originally, the way that it's laid out is the high ends on the left and the low ends on the right. And maybe for orchestra that's correct, but my ears, it didn't sound right. And I don't know if that's just because on a piano, the low is on the left. So I just switched it back so the low end was on the left side. In a more regular song structure, I thought verse, drop, and then I wanted the second drop to be longer but still different. So what I did was I put in a little break here. So there, I'm putting in that little break, bringing back, and then I'm bringing back the vocals from the verse, which I just thought was a great way to end it and tie everything together. As far as like getting it ready for export, Ozone 10, baby. Ozone 10 is really cool because you can literally click learn and it will guess your target genre, in this case it's EDM, and it'll set several parameters you can go in and change and adjust. Honestly, I did very little adjustments to what it did, and I like the way it sounded. Okay, so honestly, it was a ton of fun to make this song. For me, this is like just such a cool vibe. All the contrast between the digital real sounds, the Japanese style, and the UK garage style. I think that I found a really cool crossroads with this piece, and I'm genuinely happy with the sound, but also the vibe. It's just kind of happy. I hope this was really helpful. I actually enjoyed this a lot, making a song and breaking it down for you. Let me know what you guys thought about it. I'm considering dropping the acapella for this. I know that not that many people view my stuff. If you want, I'll put it on my SoundCloud, and you guys can remix it or whatever, and maybe it'd be even cool to check out your remixes for a video. Let me know if you want that. I'll do that, no problem. And honestly, if you made it this far and are still watching, like, thank you so much. It means the world to me. So please like and subscribe if you haven't. And thanks so much. Catch you in the next video. 'Cause then you see, when I hold you just the same, and the words you touch, and I hear you from this pain. So I sing for you as you